I'm not going to talk about last week unless you guys got questions, and I'll answer it. Answer your questions on that. But looking forward to playing Tennessee Martin here this weekend. We've got an excellent coaching staff. Jason has been there for a long time now. Has done a great job building that program. Jeep Wade, their offensive line coach, used to coach here. He's their offensive coordinator. A lot of respect for him and the job he does. They got beat last week against Missouri. But looking at this team, they've got a lot of really dynamic players at the skill positions. They can run. They got a quarterback started last year, last 5 games, I think it was, as a true freshman. So he's got a little bit of experience now in playing. This is a good football team. They're going to spread the field, try to use a lot of fast screens, and then hit you with a deep ball behind you. But this is a really good, well-coached football team defensively. They're all over the place. They're going to bring a lot of pressure. They're led by, I think, their linebacker group is probably the strength of their team. They got 3 returning starters from that group, led by Kevin Prather, who's here from here in town, was an excellent high school player here in town and has had a great career there at UT Martin. The secondary, they lost some guys last year, but it's an older group. They've got juniors and seniors, guys that have played a bunch of games back there. And then their defensive line is very active. Like I said, they're going to pressure you. They're going to come after you with blitzes. So we've got to be able to handle that. Then they're very sound in the kicking game. So it's going to be I think they're predicted to come in second or third in their conference, but all that stuff doesn't mean anything anyway. We got to get ready to play a good football team this weekend.
Coach, against Vanderbilt on Saturday, you guys had some issues finishing drives, and it looked like your defense got a little tired there in the second half and didn't finish well. Are you guys putting more of an emphasis on finishing drives and finishing the game this week, and how do you do that?
Well, not any more emphasis than we always do. That's always the objective. I don't think our defense got tired. I thought both sides of the ball competed their tails off, played extremely hard. We just didn't execute as well as you needed to on either side at critical times of the game. So we're not going to say we do that every day. So it's not a point of emphasis that we're trying to make that we haven't made, because we always make it. But that's always the objective. You gotta, you want to prevent them from scoring, and you want to try to score yourself. So we just got to do a little bit better job of executing. I'm going to give Vanderbilt again credit. They're a good football team. That there was some obvious differences from a physical standpoint in that game. But I told our team yesterday and told them after the game that I was proud of how they played, the toughness that they played with, and how they competed, in that game. And just got to execute a little bit better. And when you do that, things will usually have a tendency to work out for you.
A couple of days after the Vanderbilt game, you had a chance to digest everything. I think the offensive line only allowed maybe 1 sack in the second half. What did you see kind of the adjustments on that end, especially after the first half when Brent was taken down a few times?
Well, they got a lot of pressure on him. And, Brent did a really great job, the whole game. But there in the second half, he scrambled out of, some pressure situations and avoided some sacks, threw the ball away a couple times there. So, but our offensive line is going to be fine. They're going to be fine if we can stay healthy. Those guys are going to be fine. They competed. For the most part, we gotta do better than what we did. Obviously, But I'm not down on that group one bit.
Coach, a couple of the new rules in college football came into effect, and one was the kickoff return rule with the fair catch. Could you talk about your philosophy on that, and also the fourth down fumble rule, and that turned out to be a pretty critical play in the game?
Yeah, like I've said all summer, the kickoff rule last year, if you'd have started on the 25-yard line after every kickoff, you'd have been 8th in the country. So unless you've got a dynamic guy back there, we had one a few years ago in Reggie Watley. Reggie Watley's not back there right now, so our philosophy right now is going to be to fair catch it and take it on the 25-yard line. You get the choice of what hash you can put it on. Our first kickoff, was a bad kick. They caught it on the 14 and got it out to the 40. The next kick, they caught it on the 4 and got it to the 26. So the risk reward there right now, I don't see the taking the chance of not getting it to the 25. So we're going to do that. And then on the fourth down, when Tavares fumbled, if you fumble a ball on fourth down, the only person that can recover it is the person who fumbled it. And Chandler Brewer recovered it. He had recovered it past the first down marker, so they move it back to where Tavares fumbled the ball.
Coach, you kind of mentioned Dresser Wynn a little bit, the quarterback for UT Martin. What does he do as a young guy that makes him so successful so far?
Well, watching a few games that he played last year and then, the game against Missouri last week, I think you can see the confidence building in him, from the games that he played last year, to when he started last year to the last game last year, and now going into his second game after his first game against Missouri, just, he's more poised, a little bit more poised. Obviously, he's a little bit more experienced, and he's seeing more, each week that he plays. So I think he's just the confidence that he's playing with. He can avoid stuff in the pocket. He's got good feet. I don't think he's a guy that's going to, really beat you running the ball, but he can extend plays, and he can get critical first downs for you on broken plays, scramble plays. So seems to be an accurate quarterback, throws the ball good. So I just see the growth, the maturity of him over the last 5 or 6 games.
Coach, how much growth do you see from your teams after game 1 leading into game 2?
Everybody always says that. It's where you make your biggest improvement. So you saw a bunch of improvement last year when we got beat by Vandy, and we go up to Syracuse and beat them. So hopefully we'll see that same step forward that we did last year, and I have no doubt that we will. We made some first game mistakes in that game against Vanderbilt that we got to get corrected, and we will get corrected. But like I said it after the game, and I'll say it anytime. There's something special about this team, and I really believe that.
I'm sure you believe this team will move on kind of like they did the same time last season. How can you tell in practice or maybe in meetings that they have moved on and still have the same confidence?
Because I was in the locker room after the game, and I was in the locker room yesterday, and I watched them practice yesterday, and I've been in the training room this morning with them. I know their mindset. I know the toughness that they have, both mentally and physically. I've got no doubt in my mind. It's cliche talk and all that, but you can't get too high when you win. You don't get too low when you lose. I mean, it's a long year. We've practiced for 4 weeks, It's all we've done. We practiced for 4 weeks and played one game. So I know this team better than anybody, and I know these players, and I've got all the confidence, all the faith in the world in them.
What did you see from Wesley and Kylan trying to fill in for Javante last week when he was out?
Wesley Bush and Kylan Stribling. I thought, Kylan did some good things, in his first start. He missed a couple tackles, but he played really hard. Didn't have mental mistakes, missed assignments, missed a couple tackles, but Blasingame, that's a big guy. I mean, he's got to give those guys credit sometimes. But I thought Kylan did a nice job for his first start. He'll only get better as we move forward. And then Wesley, Wesley started last year, the first game, and then basically was on special teams the rest of the year. I thought he was a lot better. He played faster. He played physical. I think he played 25 snaps against Vandy. So I thought he did a much better job this year. After, and that's what you hope. He got his feet wet last year, and he's had a year now. Excuse me, and everything. And but both those guys are good football players.
Coach, obviously you want fans at every home game, but being the season opener at home, coming off of a loss against Vandy, how much would you guys appreciate those stands being full?
You only get 5 chances this year. You only get 5 home games. So I hope they come. It's selling beer now, I think. Come watch a game, get you a cold one, and, you're going to see a good football team. Support your team. When you win, everything's good. When you lose, that's when you need to come out of the woodwork. You can't hide. And we're not going to hide, and I hope our fans don't hide. I hope they come out and support this team because this team deserves their support.
UT Martin's skill positions, but their running back, Galloway, Ladarius Galloway. What does he kind of bring to them and kind of help out their quarterback dress or win?
Well, I think, with any running back, it always starts up front with the offensive line, and their offensive line, you can tell Coach Jeep Wade, you can tell his influence on that line. They got some young guys up there, but they play tough, they play hard, they're physical. You can see Jeep's hand in that offensive line. He's just done a great job so far, and he's been their offensive coordinator as well. So I think that's where it starts, and Jeep has done a great job there. He's been a great addition to their staff. And then the running back is, he's a tough, hard-nosed runner. He's got, good speed. He's a downhill runner. He's physical, so he catches the ball well out of the backfield. They use him in the passing game. And, so he's a good player. They got